The rain hammered against the cracked windshield like angry fists as Victoria Ashford sat trapped in her $400,000. Ferrari, mascara streaming down her cheeks in black rivers. Just hours ago, she'd been Manhattan's darling, the tech CEO whose face graced Forbes covers, whose every word moved markets, now stranded on a forgotten highway in rural Pennsylvania with no signal and a smoking engine. She was nobody, just another broken woman in an expensive car that couldn't save her. Are you crying because your car is sad? Victoria's head snapped toward the passenger window. A small face pressed against the glass, breath fogging the rain-soaked surface. A little girl, no more than 7, with tangled brown hair and eyes too wise for her age. She wore a faded purple jacket 2 sizes too big. Victoria quickly wiped her face, attempting to salvage some dignity. "I'm fine, sweetheart. Just having a bad day?" The girl's brow furrowed with concern that seemed almost comical on such a young face. "My dad can fix it," she whispered, cupping her hands around her eyes to see better through the tinted window. Victoria managed a weak smile. She'd already called 3 luxury towing services, all at least 2 hours away. The nearest Ferrari dealership was in Philadelphia. What could some rural handyman possibly do? But the earnestness in those eyes made her hesitate before dismissing the offer. "That's very sweet, but this is a complicated car. It needs special—" "My dad can fix anything." The girl's voice carried absolute certainty, the kind of faith children have before the world teaches them doubt. "Please? He's real good with broken things." Something in Victoria's chest cracked. Maybe it was exhaustion, maybe desperation, or maybe it was how long it had been since anyone had looked at her with such pure, uncomplicated kindness. "Okay," she heard herself say. "Where is he?" The girl's face lit up like sunshine breaking through storm clouds. "Our house. It's just through those trees. Can you walk?" "You're wearing funny shoes." Victoria glanced at her Louboutin heels and almost laughed. $2,000 reduced to funny shoes by a child's honesty. "I'll manage." The girl introduced herself as Lily as they trudged through mud that swallowed Victoria's designer heels with each step. She chattered about her dad, her cat named Biscuit, and how she'd been walking home from the bus stop when she saw the pretty red car smoking like a dragon. They emerged into a clearing where a small house sagged slightly to one side, its paint peeling but its porch swept clean. A man worked beneath the hood of an ancient pickup truck, his hands black with grease. When he straightened, Victoria saw a face lined with hardship but softened by gentle eyes. "Dad, Dad! There's a lady with a broken car and I told her you could fix it." The man, Tom, Victoria would learn, wiped his hands on a rag with the futility of someone who'd long accepted that some stains don't wash out. His eyes widened slightly when he took in Victoria's mud-splattered designer clothes, the diamonds at her ears catching the fading light. "Sir, I don't want to trouble you," Victoria began. "Your daughter was very kind, but let me grab my tools." Tom's voice was quiet, matter-of-fact. No judgment in his eyes. No resentment toward someone who clearly had more money than problems. Just simple human decency. As they walked back to the Ferrari, Lily bouncing between them, Tom explained that he'd worked as a mechanic for 20 years before the factory closed. Now he did odd jobs, fixed whatever people brought him, made enough to keep food on the table. "My mom's in heaven," Lily announced suddenly, with the casual delivery of a child who'd grown accustomed to the fact. "But Dad takes real good care of me. He makes the best mac and cheese, and he reads me 3 stories every night, even when he's super tired." Victoria felt something lodge in her throat. When was the last time someone had taken care of her? Her penthouse apartment was immaculate but empty. Her calendar was full of meetings but void of meaning. Success had cost her everything that mattered, and she'd been too busy climbing to notice what she'd left behind. Tom popped the Ferrari's hood with surprising ease, and Victoria watched as his grease-stained hands moved, with the confidence of someone who understood machines the way poets understand words. He didn't have fancy diagnostic equipment or a climate-controlled garage, but he had knowledge earned through years of actually fixing things, not just managing people who fix things. "Fuel line came loose," Tom said after 20 minutes. "Probably vibration from the road. I can rig something temporary to get you where you're going. But you'll want a proper mechanic to look at it." "You are a proper mechanic," Victoria said softly. Tom smiled, sad, knowing. Not according to the world we live in. As he worked, Lily entertained. Victoria with elaborate stories about Biscuit's adventures and questions about Victoria's life. Did she have kids? Why not? Didn't she get lonely in her big city? The questions were innocent but cut deep, exposing truths Victoria had spent years avoiding. All set, Tom announced, straightening up. Should get you where you need to go. Victoria pulled out her phone, opening her banking app with hands that trembled slightly. What do I owe you? Tom shook his head. Nothing. Glad I could help. Please, your time is valuable. Let me... Ma'am, if I charged everyone I helped, I'd have to stop helping people. Some things you do because they're right, not because they pay. Victoria stared at this man whose jacket had duct tape holding the sleeve together, who'd just refused payment he clearly needed. She thought of the board meeting she'd missed today, where they debated executive bonuses while planning layoffs. She thought of the keynote speech she was supposed to deliver tomorrow about adding value and maximizing returns. I run a tech company, Victoria heard herself say. We're opening a manufacturing facility in Pennsylvania next year. 300 jobs, good-paying jobs. She looked Tom directly in the eyes. I'd like to offer you a position as lead mechanic. Your own team, full benefits, salary starting at $80,000. Tom's wrench clattered to the ground. Lily gasped, grabbing her father's hand. Why? Tom's voice cracked. You don't even know me. Because in the last hour, you showed me more about character than I've seen in boardrooms in years. Because your daughter has faith in you that moved mountains today, she convinced a stranger to follow her into the woods because she believed in you that completely, Victoria's own voice broke. Because I've spent 10 years chasing success and forgot what it means to be human. And because you fixed my car and wouldn't take a dime, which makes you either the worst businessman or the best person I've met in a decade. Tears streamed down Tom's weathered face. Lily wrapped her arms around his waist, jumping up and down. See, Dad, see? I told you you could fix anything. Victoria knelt in the mud, ruining her remaining dignity and not caring at all. You did, sweetheart. Your dad fixed more than my car today. 6 months later, Victoria stood in a gleaming new facility watching Tom train a team of mechanics on equipment he once could only dream of operating. But what she treasured most was the photo on her desk. Tom, Lily, and herself covered in mud and grease, grinning like fools on a forgotten highway. She'd learned that day that being stranded is sometimes life's way of helping you find your way home. That a little girl's whisper could change everything. That the best things in life aren't fixed by money, but by the quiet grace of ordinary people doing extraordinary things simply because they can. And every time her empire threatened to consume her humanity, Victoria remembered a child's faith and a father's kindness, and found her way back to what mattered. Some breakdowns she'd learned are really breakthroughs in disguise.